Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here.
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning and welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Radio. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning, Monday through Friday, right here on 12-Ounce Sports Radio. I am one of your favorite hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And the man on the other microphone, great American, a great patriot, and the other guy, you know him as...
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is your boy Chris America coming to you live this Tuesday, October the 1st. Loudbeard, we are officially in spooky season. You can finally order your PSLs at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts or wherever you get a coffee beverage. And it also means cold weather, right? Cooler weather? No?
Yeah, it should mean cooler weather. For most of people out there in the world, this is cool weather season. For us here in Florida, we might get one cool weekend evening. You know what I mean? Like, that's about it. Feels like it should
even
be
75.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And we consider that cool.
That's awesome. We need it so bad. It's been the marathon of the summer has finally ended. We're in fall season. We're in spooky season. We need a cool day here or there. And this is one of the best times of year. I love fall. Halloween is one of the fun holidays that people enjoy. Get to dress up. Like you said, PSL crazy we've become America. Pumpkin spice beers. Why not? Let's drink some beer tasting like pumpkin. Just because we can. A little bit of everything. Fall harvest, pumpkin patches, everything is out there, Chris America. It is time, October 1st. It is a great time to be alive.
Yeah, I just need that weather to get down to like 68, 65 outside so I can crack open these windows, put on some football. That's when I feel the most alive, Loudbeard, is when I'm watching some football. The sun is going down at 5:30 in the afternoon, and there's a crisp, cool air coming through my windows. Love it.
That's a little slice of heaven right there. You've put it, painted the picture so beautifully. It's almost perfect.
Almost perfect?
Yeah, you're painting the perfect picture of what the greatest day would be like, right? You open the windows, you watch a little football on the TV, and it's perfect.
Well, it'll be perfect when he can watch football, just like we can, because he's suspended for the rest of the season.
Who are you talking about?
Vontez perfect.
Whoa. There's a guy with the last...
Oh, and you cut out. That's lame. Yes, there is a guy named Vontez Burfict.
Never heard of him. Tell me more.
Yeah, plays for the Raiders now. Was once
does he?
on...
Are you sure he plays for the Raiders?
Well,
I
he
looked
doesn't
on the
play
active
anymore.
roster, and I went through each player individually because that's what I do. I do my research for each show. I know every team, top to bottom, front to back. I know the Raiders like the back of my okay, or I know it. I just know it pretty well. And I looked at the and he's not on there. He is not on the active roster. So I don't know who this guy is.
Yeah, well, he was on the Raiders, he still is on the Raiders. He's just not going to play for the Raiders the rest of the season. For a helmet-to-helmet hit, probably like his 50th, maybe his 50th thousandth helmet-to-helmet hit. Guy doesn't seem to learn.
Yeah, he's been kind of pigeonholed as being a dirty player, and probably well-deserved because, he's very aggressive. He puts his body on the line, and he puts himself in situations where he's going helmet to helmet, and just the NFL is not that same NFL anymore. But this is where the NFL is taking a iron fist approach. They're saying that's it. We're not going to take it anymore, and we're suspending them for an entire year. But Chris America, I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I'm gonna spice things up a little bit. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to say, okay, you've got a man out there.
Paprika on deviled eggs?
Just like paprika, like a little raisin in your potato salad, just the way you like it, Chris America. That's how I'm going to roll this morning, because I'm going to say that the NFL, they've decided to go heavy-handed on a guy that is a grown man wearing pads and helmets, hitting other grown men in a sport where you're designed to hit each other. And we're going to go heavy-handed there. But if it's a grown man who is, let's say, kicking a woman in a hotel room where there is video camera and she's defenseless, that one we're just going to go ahead and give 8 games to.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to argue with you there. The only argument is, I guess, is that this is Vontez's 500th chance. You know what I mean? And I think that definitely weighs in on the decision, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. I was seeing a video out there that Bill Romanowski, he was saying that the NFL is dead wrong with this. A guy in his career who was known to being a little bit of a psychopath, a little bit of a dirty player. So there's definitely some people out there, not all, not most, but just some, a small number, that don't think that this is right, because he is a player out there, again, full pads, full helmet. He's just trying to make tackles. Yeah, it doesn't come off as being dirty because we don't play that way in the NFL anymore. Yeah, are we making rules against that? Yeah, but it's still a football play, and there are some people that don't believe that this is the right thing for the NFL to do.
Yeah, I think it is. I really do. And it's because we're trying to get rid of these types of plays, and there's a reason for it. People are dying. Like, yes, is he wearing football pads? Is he wearing a helmet? Is it as bad as kicking a defenseless woman in a hotel room or a hotel lobby or hallway or wherever it was? No, it's not per se, but people are having their brains turned to mush. People are committing suicide. People are forgetting things, living the rest of their lives with these migraine headaches, and the NFL is doing what it can to help avoid that. And a guy like Vontez Burfict doesn't seem to want to own up to that, doesn't seem to want to change, doesn't seem to want to do anything. Like, he's blowing kisses and smiling as he's on his way out the door.
Yeah, and you're right. Yeah, let me make one thing perfectly clear: is I'm not on this guy's side. I'm trying to play devil's advocate with you.
No, I hear you.
I mean,
hear you.
ideally, This is a less than perfect situation, and we don't need to be sitting there and pointing out every little thing that he does. He's not Mr. Perfect. He's trying just his best to make a living out in the NFL, and I just in this situation, I just want everybody to know that nobody's perfect, and we should not be sitting here putting this guy out for dead. It's a bad situation, Chris America.
I think him and the wide receiver he hit should do a TV show now and call it Burfict Strangers.
Yeah, I mean, and ideally, the situation, if you go back and look at that play, it was the perfect storm of just two guys colliding, helmets coming down at the same time. I mean, I don't know. This is one of those situations where just
it was
nothing
imperfect.
makes sense. Yeah. This is terrible, man. I mean, he came into this game in perfect shape. This is amazing.
He's gonna have to stay in perfect shape when he's out of the game.
Yeah, this was a picture. I almost said picture perfect.
Picture perfect.
I
Maybe
can't
if he
do
used
anymore.
a Bic razor, he would. Yeah, he kind of ran out of steam on those perfect puns, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Dad jokes
there you go.
in the middle of Lowe's aisle. Dad jokes. Yeah.
There we go. So we all knew that this was going to eventually come to this guy. There's a couple guys in the NFL. They get this dirty player stigma, and when they're making these plays, these dirty plays, Yeah, nobody wants to see it. And Vontez, it's time for the NFL to make a stand, and that's what they're doing. I don't see anything wrong with this. Again, I want to liven up the conversation by saying, hey, what about the guys that have domestic violence? But in all fairness, Kareem Hunt, all we know is one offense, right? So in that situation, it's one offense. Vontez, I mean, if you look at his rap sheet, it goes on for miles. This guy has had one situation after another, where he's been putting other guys' careers on the line when he goes out and plays that recklessly. And in those situations, it really does need to be addressed. And the NFL's doing the right thing in this case. So, Vontez, maybe we'll see you next year, maybe not. It could be the end of a perfect career.
Last one in, right?
I had to do one more. Just
a
had to
game.
do it. I can't help myself. It's
what?
sickness.
What else wasn't? You know what else wasn't perfect and nowhere near it?
I don't know what else was.
That Bengals offensive line last night.
Yeah, former Bengal Vontez Burfict. He's probably sitting there laughing at his old team, huh?
Yeah.
Not looking so good.
It was a wet paper bag last night. Steelers did anything and everything they wanted to. The red rifle. It was bad, man. The Bengals are a bad team, and I think we now have a three-way tie for the worst teams between your Redskins, this Bengals team, and the Dolphins. Dolphins thought they were going to be sitting pretty. They were just going to coast their way in tank mode all the way to the number 1 overall pick, and your Redskins and the Bengals said nay. Mike Berlon's Bengals and the Redskins, they said nay, Loudbeard. Do you guys play each other this year? That would be awesome. That would be an awesome bet.
Yeah, I need to look at it. I don't think we do. I don't believe we do. So Steelers, they were
you guys
looking
play
pretty
the
rough.
NFC East this year.
Yeah, Steelers were looking a little rough going into this one. Roethlisberger being out hurt, we didn't really know what we were going to get out of the Steelers. The Steelers, if they would have lost this game big, they probably would have been on this list. But Pittsburgh, they decided to show up. They decided to come out and put on their best Monday Night Football, excited helmet and go out there and show what they got, right? This is not a team that was going to lie down. And Mason Rudolph, his second career start, actually looks pretty good. Now, the offense was more tailored to his strengths. They did a lot of dink and dunk stuff. They did some wildcat formations. They did a lot of things to put this guy in a good situation. He ends up with 24 out of 28 completions, has a really solid night. And the Steelers look like they're going in the right direction. Yeah, it's up against a very lowly opponent in the Cincinnati Bengals. I get that. But the Steelers look like they have some mojo. They might be able to shake it off and come back and actually have a pretty decent season with the way they look last night. Their defensive line hurried Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, all night long. Andy Dalton really had no room, no time. He couldn't get anything off. And then, like you said, that offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals, that's got to be one of the worst, if not the worst offensive line in the NFL right now.
Yeah, Steelers going to have a comeback to earth moment next week when they play the Ravens. The Ravens are looking to bounce back after 2 losses in a row.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be a tough matchup for the Steelers. And, Steelers, they look good here on Monday Night Football. They might have a little momentum carrying them into that Ravens game, but you're right. That Ravens team, they can't go down 2-3 in this season after that hot start that they had. The Ravens are going to come out blazing, and that's going to be a little bit of a trap game for that Steelers team.
Yeah, the Steelers need to spice up that running game. James Conner is just not fulfilling that role that, Le'Veon Bell left. He did well last year. He had some flashes in the pan, but not the consistent runner, not the consistent threat that the Steelers need to help Mason Rudolph off going the long haul through the season. So he needs to step up his game.
Yeah, and I think that this is actually going to be even a tougher situation than what he had last year, because last year you had Roethlisberger, but you also had Juju and you had Antonio Brown. So Roethlisberger's offense was predicated on the pass. And then you would sprinkle in that running game, and Connor would get big holes because other defenses were more concerned about that passing game because it was so dynamic between Juju and Antonio. Now this season, you get Antonio out of it, you kind of double team up on Juju, and you don't see the same weapons out on the Steelers team.
Yeah.
And they can just stack the box, and James Conner's got nowhere to go. So this is going to be a tough season for James Conner, and you're right. You get to see now why you're missing Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell was a special player, and you can't replace that with just anybody.
Well, I don't want to take too much away from him. He did have 8 receptions, 83 yards, and a touchdown. I'm just saying that's all well and good, but take it from a Panthers fan as Christian McCaffrey. You need someone running the football. It just needs to happen.
Yeah. And Connor's a good player, and I guess maybe they need to realize, okay, what else can we do to complement, or what else can we do to change the game plan? And the Steelers did last night. They adjusted their game plan. Like I said, a lot of dink and dunk, a lot of 2-3 yard passes, a lot of screen plays that gave James Conner the ball out in the flat trying to make some plays happen, and it worked. And that was maybe what was successful against this Bengals team. But other teams are going to sniff that out. So you're going to, at some point, have to open up the offense a little bit more, some more down-the-field plays to help really open up some running room. So a lot of times the running game's predicated on the passing game and vice versa. They got to both be in sync. And what you're saying here is James Conner, yeah, he was a great weapon out of the backfield, but you have to get 3 or 4 yards when you're running the ball up the middle. You have to make some holes happen, and then you also have to kind of stretch the field with some passing plays. And Pittsburgh really wasn't able to do that last night, but they really didn't have to. So the real challenge is going to be next week against the Ravens. Are they going to be able to sprinkle in some wrinkles to this offense to really continue that momentum?
I agree, man. And I just don't think they have the horses to do it all season long, man. I just don't. I think this is more of the Bengals are just bad than the Steelers are back.
Yeah,
the Steelers figured it out.
I'll agree with you on that. Now, you talk about the Dolphins, the Redskins, and the Steelers. I'm sorry, the Bengals being the 3 worst teams in the league. I'm going to just kind of veer off to my Redskins being a very bad team. Joe Theismann comes out, and he makes the statement that Dwayne Haskins should not start next week. He's not ready. And the reason he says that is because the Redskins got a little bit of a tough opponent coming to town when they're playing the New England Patriots. So if you are the coach of one of these bad teams, like the Dolphins, the Bengals, or the Redskins, and you have a young rookie quarterback who needs experience, do you put him out there against the New England Patriots, who right now that Patriots defense, they look legit. This could be a absolute massacre. Do you chance it?
See, I don't know, man. This is where you get into the psyche of players and these young guys. This could be a game where he gets roughed up, he's able to, bounce back and learn from his mistakes. And to be the man, you got to beat the man, and iron sharpens iron, and all that other good stuff. But other guys who aren't as strong-minded, they get discouraged. They get down on themselves. They start doubting themselves, and they have a terrible game like they did last week, and then they followed up with another terrible game against the Steelers or against the Patriots, and they're gone forever mentally. They're never able to get it back. I guess it's just depending on the coach, and you feel out your guy because every guy's different. And if you think he can handle it, you put him out there. You get him that game time experience.
Yeah. Okay. I like what you're going with that. Does anybody really think the Redskins are going to win this game? Absolutely not. But
No.
You do got to get the guy experience. Sometimes going into a difficult situation, you get to see what a guy is made of. And if you sit him, it's going to just totally mess with his psyche. Like, was I not good enough in my first start? Like, you just need to put him out there. I get it. Joe Theismann, he seems to be the voice of the Redskins, right? He wants to go out there and tell them what to do and all that. You silence that guy, and you just say, you know what? We're going to do what's best for our team. And to me, you got to play Haskins. It's Haskins' team from here on out. and you see what you got out of this guy, and you got to figure out, do you give him the Josh Rosen treatment next year if you got an early draft pick? And unless Dwayne Haskins can prove himself this year, I'd say you do, but give him the chance first before you make that decision. And the only way you give him a chance is having him out there playing and on the field.
Now, do you, unless they're an analyst, right? If they're a paid analyst, then they're paid to give their opinion about all teams, and you want them to give a true, fair opinion and fair and balanced, whatever. But when it's just a guy just calling into a radio show to do an interview, do you like your former players to just be able to say whatever they want, or do you wish that they had the wherewithal to say, look, man, like I know you have your opinion, but it matters here in the locker room and in with the fans. And if you want us to win and you want us to do well, you should probably keep that to yourself.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure to have to look at it, but I think Theismann does a lot of radio stuff, like, as a host. He's all over the place in that community. He's very vocal, well-spoken, so his voice is always getting kind of heard out there. But I'm with you. I don't know, man. I don't know that it matters. Once a player's off your team, I get it. Joe Theismann's a legend in the Washington Redskins community. He can say whatever he wants. It's like Joe Namath in the New York Jets community. Namath is going to say whatever he wants, but, the GM and everything for the Jets, they're not going to listen. That's more for the media. That's more for the fans to hear.
Yeah.
Let's hear what this guy has to say. He's a Redskins legend. Let's hear what that guy has to say. I don't have a problem with these former players, especially when they're high profile, to come out and give their thoughts, but it doesn't mean that that's what the team's going to do. I think it's just somebody sharing their opinion that a lot of people listen to because they respect them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I get it. And Joe Namath is more of like the drunk uncle that you don't listen to.
Yeah, that's true. I think Theismann's getting to be more like that as he gets older.
Is
but
he?
He's got more respect than Namath, I think. But you're right. Namath is definitely the drunk uncle. Well, Chris America, you mentioned 3 bad teams. There is another team that is 0-4 that you did not mention. I just want to say this off the bat. And that team is the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, their star, Bradley Chubb, he gets diagnosed with a torn ACL. The Broncos can't catch a break. They might be competing for that worst team in the NFL moniker after they were slashed by Gardner Minshew this past game.
Now, speaking of former players criticizing the team, do you think any former Bronco has the balls to criticize John Elway for the terrible job he's done as the president?
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a guy out there that can do it, right? There's got to be somebody.
Well, Shannon Sharp was on the Broncos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
sure
he should do it.
Yeah, definitely should be Shannon Sharp. What about Terrell Davis? Is that too much for him? I mean, that was his quarterback.
Maybe Champ Bailey. Champ Bailey, I feel like, would be a type of guy to do it.
Yeah. And in that local media market, there may be some guys that have criticized John Elway. There could be where we may not hear it. Yeah. But you're right. Who's the one guy that's just going to come out and start really just slamming John Elway? Because as we all have seen, the job that John Elway has done has not been that good. Yes. I know he won a Super Bowl, but that was an awesome defense with a Peyton Manning, and he got kind of lucky with that one. Since then, he has done an awful job of putting this team together. And
it just feels like the team just gets worse and worse and worse.
I mean, how do you feel as a fan going into this season riding high on Joe Flacco?
I mean, I guess you feel better than you did riding high on like Paxton Lynch or Trevor Siemian or Brock Osweiler, but not that good.
Yeah, and last season was Case Keenum. And, yeah, now they were a disappointed fan base. Redskins are a disappointed fan base. Yeah, Case Keenum, he had one magical season with the Vikings and just has done nothing since. So, yeah, we've gone through this carousel of quarterbacks in Denver, and none of them seem to be the right guy.
Yeah, starting out the season 0-4, not a good look. Now, Loudbeard, you said off the bat to start this segue. Correct?
Off the bat? Did I say that?
Off the bat. Yeah.
Yeah, that's common vernacular.
Uh,
Sure.
Something else that's off the bat, as in the Batman is this Joker movie. It comes out this weekend, doesn't it?
Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought this up.
How pumped are you right now? Honestly, I started off with like the first time I saw this preview, maybe, I don't know, 6 months, a year ago, however long it was. And I was like, I don't know. Now that's leading up to it, and you've seen all the reviews, and you've seen a few different, previews and trailers. I'm pretty pumped, man.
Yeah, I'm 100% pumped. I haven't looked forward to a movie like this since Avengers Endgame. This is
Really? Wait, Spider-Man you didn't look forward to? Or were you kind of just like you were over the whole, you were kind of like, you were emotionally and just marvelly exhausted at that point?
I'm going to say emotionally and marvelly exhausted at that point. Spider-Man wasn't going to live up to the billing of Endgame, right?
Yeah.
So it felt, honestly, it felt a little forced. Like, I feel like Marvel should have done Endgame and then, like, took a break. Take, like, a year break and then start piling in, going back to movies. Like, that was
or at
the
least wait till
culmination.
the end of summer.
Right. It was just too soon, and I liked the movie. I went and saw it at the theaters. It was a great movie. Nothing to take away from it. But I was so excited for Endgame that I just kind of, okay, Spider-Man, it's just another Marvel movie. It didn't really give me that excitement that Endgame. Now DC is a different story, right? They've struggled to really create that excitement, and they've decided to go in a different route than Marvel did. They first did that, DC expanded universe, and they realized that they were trying to rush it and push it together. So they took a step back and said, you know what? We're just going to do standalone movies, and let's just see what happens. Let's go back to what worked for us. We don't necessarily have to have this huge universe. Let's just figure out one movie at a time. And they, Aquaman had a little bit of success. Shazam came out. It had a little bit of success. And I feel like they're kind of getting back to, let's just make it one movie at a time. The old UCF mantra, let's go 1-0 when we make movies. And this week is an exciting week for DC. One, Joker comes out, but they also have a trailer dropping today for Birds of Prey, which is a movie revolving around Harley Quinn, which to me could be another home run for DC. But I am so excited for this Joker movie, Chris America. And with all of that being said, the Marvel gap and DC gap, it might draw a little bit closer by the end of this weekend if this Joker movie's a home run. Could I possibly say, is DC back?
I don't know. I don't trust them because I thought that with Wonder Woman. I thought, all right, DC's finally figured it out. Wonder Woman it is. And then they just fell flat after that. And now, like you said, they've been building themselves back up. And, I'm not going to say they're back off of just one movie, especially when that one movie is a Batman movie. And not only just Batman, but the Joker, the most idolized villain in all of, entertainment history. So I feel like Joker's kind of an easy storyline to knock out of the park, right? It's one of those ones where you can't screw it up, right? It's just so good that you have to do well with it. Let me see what they do with other films, like with this Harley Quinn, if they do the Harley Quinn without the Joker.
Yeah, and that's the idea, right? Is can Harley Quinn hold her own movie? But there's excitement around that. And the other thing that was exciting news that dropped for DC is day one of production started with the new Suicide Squad movie, which is being helmed by James Gunn, who is the mastermind behind the Guardians of the Galaxy series. And so now DC's taking that talent from Marvel and using it for a Suicide Squad movie that, the first one fell really flat because it was a mess. But if you get the right guy and you're able to use these characters, to me, DC could start a winning streak between the Joker, Birds of Prey, and the Suicide Squad. If all three of these movies have the potential to be absolute home runs. And in that case, and that's a big if, because again, we don't have trust as fans because they've fallen flat before. But if all three of these are big hits, DC might be back.
And I feel like, where's the Wonder Woman movie at? Why did they go away from her?
Oh, she's got a one coming out too. It's called 1984. That's going to be
Okay,
part of
good.
this streak too. I think, and I just kind of forgot now that you're saying it. It's like, okay, we got all these other movies. So that Wonder Woman movie, and I don't know where it falls. I don't know what this timeline looks like, but that's going to fall in there also. So, and eventually they're going to do an Aquaman too, but I'm not really as sold on the Aquaman series. It was fun, but it was an okay movie. But these other ones, if you get Wonder Woman mixed in there too, you could have 4 outstanding movies coming up from DC. And, you know, that's going to be
nail it, man.
tough.
They need to nail it. Well, we need to nail the other side of this break, Loudbeard. Any good teases on the other side?
Yeah, sure. A tease for the other side. Come on back, because we're going to talk about
Stuff.
Yeah, baseball. Paying college
Baseball?
players. Anything.
All right.
Hi, everybody. Captain Lou here from the Captain Lou Extravaganza, coming to you live every Tuesday night on 12ouncesportsradio.com from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, it's a different name, but it's still the same great show. We're going to have guests every week live on the show, and we'll have your opinions as well as mine, and we'll see whose is better and obviously whose is right. That's every Tuesday night live, the Captain Lou Extravaganza from 8 until 10 p.m. Eastern Time on 12ouncesportsradio.com.
Hey, what's up there, listeners? This is your friendly neighborhood Loudbeard, and I'm here to tell you that there's 2 type of people in the world: those that are on a podcast and those that want to be on a podcast. And if you are one of those out there that want to be on a podcast, one of the first decisions you will need to make is which podcast host you want to use. That's right. If you're thinking about starting a podcast, you need to check out Podbean. Here at Scout Team Radio, we have been using Podbean since the very beginning, and we absolutely love it. They are easy to use, and they have affordable options. Just go to podbean.com/STR. That's right, Scout Team Radio. Podbean.com/STR to get started today. What are you waiting for?
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Your sports thirst. Hey everybody, it's your favorite Patriot, Chris America, and I want you to listen every single weekday, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and on replays from 11 a.m. to noon of Scout Team Sports. Listen, George Washington did not cross over the ocean blue in 1492 to defeat the Nazis, so you can listen to the same tired national clickbait sports stories. So once again, tune in to us every single morning, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., and then we replay from 11 to noon. I will see you there, and God bless America.
Welcome back. Thank you all for listening in. Once again, we are Scout Team Radio. He is Chris America. I am Loudbeard. We bring it to you hot and live each and every morning right here on 12 Ounce Sports Radio. If you can't catch us live, make sure you hit up that podcast. You can search our podcast anywhere you find podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Google Play, any of those places. You can find us any of those. And you know what? We also like to get social. I haven't been checking the Twitter machine, but I'm going to do so right now. Hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio. And we will talk about your tweets on the air. We love to hear from our listeners, so make sure you're hitting us up. We look forward to that, so that would be absolutely amazing. And you know what? Before the break, we had the best tease I think we've ever had. We probably should start working on those teases a little bit better, but that's okay. We've got a great second half of our show. The California governor finally signs the bill to pay players starting in 2023. We also have a wild card matchup tonight in Major League Baseball. And an MRI reveals that Mitch Trubisky he's really not hurt that bad. It was just a dislocated shoulder and a semi-torn labrum. He might be ready to go next week. That guy's kind of tough. Is Mitch Trubisky the toughest bear on the whole team? Would you say that?
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, he's no wimp like that Mac guy.
Yeah, no, he's no wimp. Now, I was reading it, and it's like, okay, so he gets injured this past game, and they're like, oh, we did the MRI. It doesn't need surgery. I mean, it was just a dislocated shoulder with a slightly torn labrum. He's questionable for Week 5. I'm like, you mean he might play Week 5? You dislocated your shoulder, and you have a slightly torn labrum, but you think you'd be all right? I don't even know. I don't even know if it's a throwing shoulder or not, but that's kind of tough. Like, you know what? I'm going to try to play through it.
Here, Drew Brees just has like a simple finger issue, and he can't even play.
I know. Seriously. What is that all about? That guy needs to toughen up a little bit, don't you think?
Hey, Loudbeard, there's a hashtag trending on Twitter right now. How do Mexicans talk? Do you want to touch that one?
Nope.
Twitter's wild, man. I don't know how this stuff starts.
Yeah. You know what else I saw on Twitter? The Clueless star Stacey Dash was arrested for domestic violence.
No.
Yes,
Stacey
she
Dash.
was. And you know what? This is something that hit close to home for me. She was arrested over in Port Richey, Florida. I don't know if you knew this or not, but I grew up in New Port Richey, Florida, which is the new part of Port Richey. If you hadn't figured that out by the name New Port Richey. So this was close to home. This is right over my hometown. I didn't even know there was Hollywood stars that lived in that little podunk town. But you know what? Port Richey's on the map now. Stacey Dash, she did it. She brought it up, getting arrested for domestic violence over there in Port Richey. So, yeah. Thank you for Twitter for letting me know about that.
Yeah, it says, her and her husband had a marital dispute September 29th. There's nothing really crazy with the story.
No, there really isn't. Oh.
It doesn't even say what she did. Like, it didn't say, like, oh, you know, like she hit him or threw a cell phone at him or anything like that. I guess they're saying both the husband and everything are saying the events of the evening are being misrepresented.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Chris America, I just want to say that I'm going to say the Columbus Blue Jackets emoji is number 1, but that Tampa Bay Lightning broom, that's quality emoji.
Yeah, that's a bit savage on Twitter there. That's all right.
Why are people so mean on Twitter?
I hope the Tampa Bay Lightning players are watching. I hope they've been thinking about this all off season long, and that this has been stewing for another great season. Like, they got to come out with pride. Like, they embarrass themselves. They embarrass the city. Like, you can't just come out and fall flat. People have been making fun of you all year, especially, you know, certain Columbus Blue Jacket fans that listen to this show. Won't say her name. But, you know, they got to come out hard. And I think they got to win a Stanley Cup to erase that embarrassment.
Until then, their emoji's going to have to continue to be a broom. They
Yeah,
deserve that. They deserve it.
Do you think Stamkos? You think if he was a football player, basketball player, people would be ragging on him even harder? Number 1 overall pick, can't win the big game.
Yeah, I mean, I think athletes get that all the time, right? If you want to be one of the big time,
But because he's a hockey player, it's not as bad, like nationally, right?
Yeah, I guess it depends where you're at. Some places a little bit bigger in hockey. You know, we're sitting here in October and it's 90-degree weather, and it's hard to really think about ice hockey starting.
You're right. I mean, I'm sure Toronto fans and Columbus fans are like, yeah, that Stamkos guy, what a bust.
Yep.
Can't even win the big game.
Yeah.
Is Stamkos the Dan Marino of hockey?
I think that's going a little far. His story is not done being written. This is going to be a good year for the Lightning. They're gonna get that broom emoji taken away so that they get back to their big lightning bolts. It's very, very frightening.
Thunderbolts of lightning. Very, very frightening.
Yes. So, Chris America, a couple stories we'll touch on here. One, I'm going to go a little wrestling on you. I know you like some wrestling. So,
okay.
Friday, SmackDown is going to be premiering on Fox. So WWE is getting this big Fox push.
Yeah, Fox has been pushing it hard, too, on their commercials.
They have been. It's becoming a big deal. So from what I'm hearing, The Rock and Stone Cold are going to be on this Friday SmackDown. Now, this is Vince McMahon knowing that his biggest names, who really are no longer a big part of the WWE, he needs them to help push this over the edge. This guy's a marketing genius, and you have to have The Rock in attendance for this
Yeah, especially
SmackDown.
since the name of the show is kind of after his shtick, right? He was always talking about laying the SmackDowneth and all that other stuff. So you gotta at least have The Rock, and then who's his biggest rival from that time span? None other than Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love it.
That's right. Such a good time in wrestling, and it's a shame that they have to continue to go back to that to help push a show over the top. But you know what? You go with what works, and for all the casual people out there that don't watch wrestling, everybody knows who The Rock is. He is the biggest name in wrestling, even though he hasn't really been a part of wrestling a whole lot. Yeah, he does a WrestleMania here and there. Yeah, he shows up every now and then. But everybody knows who The Rock is. He's such a big superstar. I think this is the right move for WWE, and it's crazy how much they're pumping this SmackDown show, and Fox. I guess this is good opportunity for them help work on some of those ratings, right?
Yeah, and it's good to see a guy like The Rock not forgetting his roots, not forgetting where he got his start from. I don't think the WWE would actually pay him what he should get paid to come out and do it, and he just does it anyways.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he seems like he's one of those guys that just appreciates where he came from, and he's like the Samuel L. Jackson, right? He's everywhere. He's everywhere you want him to be. That's what The Rock is.
And they made a great duo. Like, when you saw the other guys, how bad did you want to see that Rock and Samuel L. Jackson cop movie?
Oh, yeah, so much. It sucks you in, right? You're like, oh, there they are.
The Rock and Samuel Jackson as two cop partners? Let's do this. And then they jump out of the window and die.
And they're like, we can make it. Doesn't look too far. Let's jump. I don't know why, but that's still one of the most memorable scenes in any movie ever.
Because you just didn't expect it.
It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. So moving on. Tonight we got baseball, Chris America, wild card. It's coming at you hot. We got Brewers versus Nationals. It's in Washington. We got Max Scherzer, who is set to take the mound for the Nationals, and Brandon Woodruff starting for the Brewers. It looks like the Nationals are going to be favored in this one because it is a home game. They do have the bigger ace, Max Scherzer, taking the mound. And it looks like it's the Nationals' game to win, but when you have a one-game playoff, anything can happen.
This is where the Brewers needed, Christian Yelich, right?
Oh, yeah. This
is where that injury we talked about a couple of weeks ago, this is where it hurt him. This is where they needed him.
Yeah, when you go into the playoffs and your best player is out hurt, yeah, that's never good for any team. We know that baseball is more of a team sport. One guy doesn't make that big of a difference, but you do need that guy, especially in the big moment. It didn't matter for the other 160 games, but when you get to this one game, you could use that guy's bat.
Yeah, when you're down 1-0, you got a man on first and a man on third. That's when you want Christian Yelich coming up to bat, not whoever is taking his place.
So true. I feel bad for the Brewers, but they're not out, right? They have just as much chance as the Nationals. A big spot here for the Nationals, though. I feel like they're going to be the ones that pull this off, but again, we're not going to know who takes this. But Max Scherzer, this is a guy that's built for the big moment. He wants to be in the spotlight. He wants the pressure of this game. And, I'm hoping Bryce Harper's at home with his Nationals gear on, cheering this team on. I really hope he is. I hope he understands how important it is to really help support his old team.
And Scherzer kind of needs this playoff run, doesn't he? Because he's been building up to this his whole career. I remember when he first came out, how electric he was, and then we got into these debates of, well, how many pitches is too high for him, and blah 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 blah. Now it's like, okay, we've rested you. You've stuck with this team. You've developed into an amazing pitcher. Now it's time to carry us on into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's time. We're ready for it. Now, I'm personally this game's exciting because I'm kind of at the point where I'm ready to watch some baseball. Regular season's over. We're getting into October. It is now officially a good time to start watching baseball. But I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night's game a little bit more than tonight's. I'm ready to see the Rays make that step. I'm ready
too, man. When they made that run in 2008, it was awesome. You felt it all the way over here in Orlando.
Yeah, and I get it. The Tampa Bay Rays crowd, that is that's a crowd that needs a winner. If they're not winning, they don't show up.
they're like, we're not showing up.
Yeah,
and that's
we
the
need
way
a winner.
It should be. Honestly, it should be that way.
Yeah,
I know
you've
people
gotta
want you to
earn
be
that
real
attendance.
fans and stuff like that. No, like, we are consumers. We are customers. We demand a good product or we're not going to buy.
I 100% agree with you. This is capitalism at its best, right? Like you have to have good products. You have to be able to sell to your audience something that's worth watching.
Yeah.
And if you're losing all the time, it just doesn't happen. So I get it that diehard fans are like, come on, everybody needs to come out and support, even if we're losing. We need to all be here for our team. But realistically, that team should be winning for you to show up. And the Tampa Bay Rays market is perfect example of what a professional sports market should be. Though, they could be a little bit more loyal, I guess.
I have a few restaurants that I'm loyal to, Loudbeard, that I'll always go to, that when people are in town, I'll say, you got to try this. But if I go there a few times and there's moldy bread every single time I go, I just stop going. That's how it works.
It's true. Yeah, you're just like every other fan. We're all the same here, Chris America. We're all in this together.
Loudbeard, you said you're ready for tomorrow night, right?
I am.
Do you know what I'm ready for?
Las Vegas.
And I've been ready for it since EA Sports stopped carrying college football back in 2013. I am ready for NCAA football 2020, 2021, whenever it is. Actually, I guess it's not going to be till 2024 since that's when the stupid California law goes into effect. I'm ready for it, Loudbeard. I'm ready for college football to return back to the video game world, and California took us there. California took the first needed step to get us there, and I'm pumped. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, California Governor Gavin Newsom, he signs the bill. It is officially in effect, and it doesn't start until 2023, but I actually like the idea that it doesn't start for a couple years, and the reason that is, it's going to give all these other states an opportunity to jump on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Some of these stories that we've had over the years, I think back to that story we talked about quite a bit 3 years ago where the UCF kicker was doing YouTube videos, and it was such a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, you're making YouTube videos and you're making money. How dare you? You're an asshole, and we're kicking you off of the team. And it wasn't really UCF. I blame NCAA before their
it was the NCAA.
awful. It was awful rules. But
like UCF isn't going to get a postseason ban for a kicker who wants to make YouTube videos.
Right. They're like, okay, this is an NCAA thing. That's now going to be a non-story, especially in the state of California. But we have other states jumping on, right? New York was one of these states that mentioned that they're gonna pass something. It hasn't been passed yet, but it is in the works. And what we need, and I heard this on Craft Brewed Sports the other night. They were talking about it last Wednesday. Is what college football needs is they need 2 or 3 of the big college football states. California is a big state, right? Like you've got USC and UCLA, and
it's the most
you've got some
populated
bigger
state.
programs. Yeah, it's
the
a
most
big
populated
state
in the union. Yeah,
but what you need is states like Texas, when you've got a program like the University of Texas, Texas A&M, Houston. You've got big programs, right? A state like Florida, where you've got Miami, Florida State, UCF, the Gators. You've got these programs that are huge, right? So if you've got a state like Florida that falls into it and a state like Texas that are huge college football program states, yeah, that's going to create the domino effect. And nothing against these states, but if Montana does it, it's going to be like, okay, it's Montana. Nobody's really going to care.
Right.
North Dakota, South Dakota, they're not going to push the needle. You've got several schools, like even a state like Connecticut, not going to push the needle. But South Carolina, when you've got the Gamecocks and you've got the Clemson Tigers, that's a state that we need. Florida, Texas, these are the states, Oklahoma, that we need to make this happen nationwide.
And Loudbeard, everybody's saying, the naysayers of this law, people who don't want college players to get paid, they're going to say, well, now these boosters get unleashed and they're just going to start recruiting players. And honestly, if you ask me, I think the boosters don't want this law to be passed, because your boosters aren't billionaires that are just rolling in cash, ready to just throw whatever money they need to. These are like car salesmen and lawyers and doctors that own these businesses that, yes, to guys like you and me, they're wealthy or they're rich or they're well off, and they can throw down like 20 G's to a football player easily under the table and not blink an eye. But these guys aren't Nike. These guys aren't Adidas. These guys aren't Gatorade or Powerade or whatever other sports business you want to throw out there that loves to sponsor athletes. And these small town doctors and car salesmen, they can't compete anymore against the big wigs, the guys that this law is really going to help out, to where they can't no longer say in Alabama, like, hey, come to Alabama and I'll throw you 40 G's your way. Okay, I'll go to UCF. UCF, what do your boosters got for me? And the boosters in Orlando might be like, yeah, we love football, just not that much. So whatever. Now the Orlando player or the player that wants to choose between UCF and Alabama can say, yeah, this guy's going to shoot me 40 G's, but I don't care. Wherever I go, I think I'm a good enough player that Nike's going to recognize who I am. And if I go to Alabama, I might be the third string quarterback, and I'm never going to get noticed. And yeah, I'll have 40 G's in my pocket, but if I go to UCF or if I go to UNC or if I go to another school and I ball out and I get noticed, Nike and Adidas and all those other companies are going to notice me, and they're going to throw sponsorships my way.
It's a very good point. And I think of a team like Oregon that has that Under Armour backing, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I said Under Armour. You get a team like Oregon that you've got the big Nike name out there. That team all of a sudden becomes a recruiting advantage. And it's not because of, Jimmy John's Pontiac dealership in Tuscaloosa that's throwing money under the table. Like, when you talk Nike, that is such a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's where all the money's at. So, yeah.
And Nike's not going to do it during the recruiting process. They're going to do it when they feel like you're good. Like, there might be a couple of recruits they throw money at, but this isn't like basketball, right? Where you kind of know when guys are going to be good and when they're not going to be good. There's too many busts in college football recruiting for you to start throwing cash around. But Nike, they don't care where you're at. They don't give a damn where you're at. If you ball out, we'll find you and we'll pay you. It's why Kevin Durant, it's why I think it's so stupid. They're like, oh, Kevin Durant needs to go to LA or here or there. Like, no, Nike, like, nobody really cares where Kevin Durant plays. If Kevin Durant is a great, excellent basketball player, we don't care if he's wearing an Oklahoma City jersey, a Golden State jersey, a Brooklyn jersey, or an Orlando Magic jersey. We just want to see guys who actually play well. And Mike Verlon tweeting in, he says, but those boosters have connections to those companies like Nike and Adidas and will be making those connections like they've been doing already. I don't know that every single booster at every single college has connections to Nike and Adidas. Like, I think we think there's this huge web of people, but I think if you went to some of these booster meetings, you're going to find just a whole lot of just small town yuckity yucks that are just big fish in little ponds. I really do. I think you're just, like I said, you're going to have the guy that owns the law firm, the biggest law firm in the state of Alabama, which again is huge, but I don't know how many connections he has to Nike and Adidas.
Yeah, but hey, look at like Oklahoma. One of their boosters is Jerry Jones.
Right.
You think that guy's a yuckity yuck?
No, I mean, but that's one guy. Yeah, he is a yuckity yuck sometimes when he starts talking. But that's one guy. That's one billionaire out of how many schools? You know what I mean? And how much money is he gonna throw? And it's not Oklahoma. I thought it was Arkansas. Yeah, I think he's in Arkansas alone.
You're right. I
Yeah.
said that wrong.
And you see that Arkansas has that billionaire connection, and he's done jackass for his Arkansas. You don't see the Jerry Jones football stadium because he doesn't care. He's too busy paying money towards his Cowboys.
It's a good point. I will say that on Mike Berlon's tweet, it does say, like they've been doing already. Maybe we're not going to see such a drastic change, even if this bill is passed. On that note, peace.
I don't. Yeah. Oh wait. Wow. It's 6:55.
It happens.
Life comes at you fast.
It hits you like a wet salami.
Yeah.
This was the end to a perfect show.
It was a perfect show. Have a great Tuesday, guys. Peace.